Friends, family, fans, welcome back to another episode of Back Nine Bets, baby. Episode 170, Hammer Time. We are going to be hammering a top five like you've never seen before. If you watch the thumbnail, you know exactly where we're going with that, but I'll give you all the reasonings why. There's a bit of value involved over here. We're going to be going over all sorts of fun stuff for the Memorial this week. We are rocking the $100 t-shirt because we are a Russell Henley outright holder from last week. And Golf Tips Checker had me and two other people on there. Shout out Brian from the the cool Brian, not Brian Kirshner, on the Sports Illustrated panel there. We had a double Russell Henley hit. So that's on the board, baby. Don't have a lot of outrights this week, so we're not really chasing that hard. We're probably going to wait a little bit and see. Got a lot in the without Scotty Scheffler market. Going to be going over what we can expect for this golf course. Kind of just vibing with what's going on right now. Some tee times have come out. We can take a peek at that, take a look at some first-round leaders. Haven't had a chance to do that yet, so that can happen on the show. Lots of fun to be had. Let's dive right into it. The show, as always, is presented by DRAFTKINGS. Use code FGD when you are signing up as a first-time depositor. That would seriously help us out, along with JP Del Frio and all of you getting the shows for free. They help us pay the bills. You know, this is how it goes. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, check out the Model Maniac Patreon. Bets 26 gets you 50% off monthly or annual packages. The Dog Dominator $50 tool is involved in the annual package. You get 20% off the monthly rate, part of the annual package, and then you get 50% off of that. I'm desperate right now, people. I need your money. I'm just kidding. Use that. It's a great value tool. It's how it goes. Check it out. Use Bets26 when signing up at the Model Maniac Patreon today. Alrighty, friends. Now that that's all out of the way, let's take a quick peek at the micro model, which is usually a very, very handy spot to go and check out what you can expect from this golf course this week. We are looking at a 7,507-yard par 72. The four par fives are out there. They are all within 550 to 600. One of them, you actually have to hit a 270-yard tee shot off the tee. You're not even ripping driver. So we are seeing guys hit 254, 272, 274, 240. That's at least 4 shots off the tee that you're not hitting driver. Maybe Russell Henley's hitting driver. Maybe Brian Harman's hitting driver. If we go over to the strokes gained approach things, you know, you can see over here, long drivers of the golf ball are going to actually have 6. This needs to change, Byron. Please, goddamn, Byron. I'm doing it right now. Okay. 0, 5, 6, 7. And then it's 6. I don't know. I've gone the opposite. This is for the long drivers. There we go. Complete momentum killer, but that's okay, because I want the right stuff over here for you guys. Okay, so as you can see, long drivers of the golf ball are going to have 6 wedges, where like short drivers of the golf ball are only going to have 4. They're all going to have 7, no matter how far you hit, because of how the par 5s are, because of how the par 3s are. Everybody's going to have 7 shots from 200 plus this week. 7 shots. If you take a peek here, you can see approach yardage coming in. Here is Russell Henley on the, you know, no matter how far he drives it on the par 3, he's going to have 204 yards on approach, because that's the length of the hole. So 204, 264, 270, 214, 288, 264, 210. And those are your 7 200-plus approach shots for Russell Henley. So those are 7 shots that you need good golfers to play good golf from. If we're taking a look at that, you can take a look at that over here on the Model Maniac strokes gained approach situation. And you can see, okay, Rory McIlroy leads the field in strokes gained from 200-plus. Sepp Straka gains as many strokes on approach per hole as Rory McIlroy does. And they are both fantastic at peppering greens. Both pretty solid at hitting greens in regulation from the wedge side of things. And Sepp's actually slightly better on approach from 150 to 200. Rory's historically been a little lackluster in this range where between 150 and 200. You see a lot of golf shots coming from that range on the PGA Tour, yet he kind of struggles. But where you can really separate yourself is from this 200-plus range. Some other names, Tommy Fleetwood, Ryan Fox, first-round leader person, we can definitely take a peek at, and then Alex Fitzpatrick, which we'll get talking about here shortly. So that's what's going on over here. That is the general perception over at the Murfield Village. There's a half a shot rough penalty. If you hit it in the rough, you are likely not making birdie, my friend. You are trying your absolute best to make a 4 and your absolute worst to make a 5. because that is basically the situation you're looking for. If you're missing fairways at this golf course, you're in trouble. So be sure to have that accuracy rocking and rolling. That is why we have accuracy kind of ramped up a smidgen. You know, that kind of gets its gets its way built into the micro model strokes gained, but it's also going to find its way into just pure fairway finding ability this week, along with strokes gained off the tee. And then if you can handle your approach play based off of the various approach proximities that you're coming in from, based off how far you drive the golf ball, that's part of the strokes gained approach over here. So as you can see, Scotty Scheffler, strokes gained approach, let's actually dive right into it. He's going to be our first situation here. I don't have banners made, so I'm going to have to type them as I go along. So excuse me as I do this. And Vamp City, Scheffler, top 5, minus 125, friends. Ties paid in full. That is where you want to be living your life right now. Scotty Scheffler, top 5, minus 125. That is a 2.5 unit play, my people. 2.5 unit play, because we are rocking and rolling with Scotty Scheffler. If you take a top over here, you can see the place we grabbed that at with ties paid there. DraftKings has minus 125 without ties paid. So that's still a very solid option, considering Scotty Scheffler finishes inside the top 5. I'm actually going to show you something hilariously, ridiculously. It is Scotty Scheffler's little write-up I do. I usually go in here and do this thing where if you take a look at the player profiles over here, you can find, where are the stars? Do we have the stars coming up anytime? Okay, why don't I have the player profile? Yeah, codes. So basically all you're looking for is if you have a win in your last 5 events within the last 2 months. That is the recent form window I'm looking at. If you have course history, the last 5 events at this venue, your course fit, the micro model, hellish scoring, course fit for the micro model, and then I don't even do the finish position rates anymore. I just do the Maniac Manifest, where I kind of go over everything. So if you take a look at what's going on with Scotty Scheffler over here, it is bizarre land. We are looking at recent form. A 3rd at the Byron Nelson, a 4th at the PGA, a 14th at the PGA, second. Look at all these stars. It's 4, like a second gets you 4 stars. 5 stars is max. Usually you're just trying to get to like 10 stars total. I think this is 14 total stars. 16, 4, 4, 4. So 16 stars for Scotty Scheffler in the last 5 starts is absurd. And then we've got 16 stars for Scotty Scheffler at the course history side of things, and he skipped a year. He skipped in 2022, and he's had now a third, a win, and a win, dating back from the furthest to the nearest. He's won the last 2 times he's played here. The course fit, whenever it gets into hellish conditions, scoring averages on the golf course are over par. Scotty Scheffler is number 1 in the field, gains 2.9 strokes on the field. And then he's actually second in the micro model, behind Rory McIlroy, because of these long irons. If you take a look at what Scotty Scheffler has actually been up to the last little while, how you can find Scotty Scheffler is you filter by strokes gained approach from 150 to 200, because he's second behind Adam Scott. But he's 47th from 100 to 150 and 44th from 200 plus. He has not necessarily been hitting his long irons as great as he has in the past. He will be an average to long driver, so he's likely going to have 5 shots from the magic range that he finds himself in. And again, if you are a bad wedge player, you are still likely. Now, don't get confused about like you want to hit into the 150 to 200 bucket because you're better from that range. That's not how golf works. Like if you are good from that range, it's relative to everyone else from that range. If you can hit your driver 20 yards further into the next bucket from 150 and in, you can still be pretty poor like Scotty 47th. But if you're hitting your wedge from 125 and say, let's take a look here. Number 10, number 11. JJ Spaun is hitting an 8 iron from 160. You are likely going to hit your wedge closer than JJ Spaun. So don't get too confused about how this all goes down. This shows you where they're the best from when they are next to each other. This works the best for par threes, obviously, because everyone tees off from the same distance on approach. And we've seen most of those come from the par threes are all 200 plus, except for the 12th, which is diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. It's got one of the lowest green regulation rates on the course, and it's 165-yard par 3. Whoop. You know, basically the 12th hole, but the other way around. No, it's the same kind of green. It kind of slopes left to right for a perfect draw shape as a lefty. A fade is not an ideal shot shape coming in there. Anyway, moving back to what we were chatting about Scotty Scheffler for you. You can see Scotty Scheffler's finish rates, 67% of the time. That's minus 200, my people. That's minus 200. If I know my math correctly, we can get Scotty Scheffler for a top 5 at minus 125. Scotty Scheffler comes in with these incredible results. He also comes in with these incredible form. So there's a lot to go by on Scotty Scheffler. 2.5 units to win 2 units. We are betting in the without Scotty Scheffler market. If he wins this thing, so be it. But we're going to go for the top 5. I feel like that's the best way to get 2 units. We're going to lay 2.5 to win 2. People that are betting him outright are going to be laying 1 to win 3. The chances he wins a golf tournament are decent. But again, if you take a look at this recent form over here, we are seeing a second, and a third, and another second over there. Somebody, this is why outrights are so damn difficult to bet, is because somebody can go banana land and just beat Scotty Scheffler. Who beat him at the Masters? Rory McIlroy. Who beat him at the RBC Heritage? Fitz. In a playoff. Cadillac. Didn't even have a chance to beat Cam Young at the Cadillac. But Scotty Scheffler, without one of those other guys in the field, would have won the tournament. So that's the situation. CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, who won that bad boy? I can't remember. That's just how irrelevant that tournament was to me. But it is what it is. So you know what's going on here. He finished 3rd over there. Siwoo Kim finished 2nd. Who the hell won that tournament? Wyndham, of course. No one cares about that. Alrighty, moving into Scotty Scheffler, top 5, 2.5 units to win 2. This is Smash Play City. I mean, this guy's course history, everything we've spoken about. I'm not going to talk more about Scotty Scheffler than I already have. By the way, you can see if you click in this box, you can go and check the notes. If there's a long note, you can kind of scroll down a bit. You can see that bad boy in there. Sometimes I'll take screenshots. I can move this bad boy around, make it longer, make it bigger for you guys. My computer's starting to freak out again. That's why I'm speaking fast, is trying to stay ahead of my computer. I want it to understand that I am the boss. And as a result, it needs to listen to me. So that's Scotty Scheffler. Let's dive into our next bet of the week. And it's going to just be an outright. And it's going to be the man of the moment, Ben Griffin, at 32-1 without Scotty. And Scotty is going to be a major consideration in these outrights. We might buy him if he's way down the leaderboard for some reason. Again, we have 2.5 units invested already. So you might have to keep an eye on that. But without Scotty Scheffler this week, 32-1, I am using Scotty as my one and done. I don't think I'll be using him in DFS because $13,500 is still pretty expensive. Ben Griffin, 32-1. You can grab yourself a top 5 as well for 6-1. Drop that in the Model Maniac Discord/Patreon, where you can find all of that over there. When we're taking a look at Ben Griffin, he is not even remotely close to the top of the model, but he's $9,000 in DraftKings. The model has yet to catch up. The problem with Benjamin Griffin is he's been playing quite poorly this year. If we take a look at his last couple starts, here's Benny G. The last 2 months, he's gaining 1.4 strokes. The last 4 months, he's gaining a stroke. The last 8 months, 1.1. And then the last 12 months, he's gaining 1.6 strokes on average. So it just shows you how well he was playing, that everything else over here has been below the 1.6, and it's still 1.6. I mean, the last 12 months, he's right up there. You know, it's right by Sam Burns, Patrick Cantley, Jake Knapp, Xander, Ludwig, Tommy, Fitz. You know, these guys are all slightly ahead of him in that department, and he's been playing like total cheeks. If you take a look at what Ben Griffin's been up to the last little while, it's been problematic. We had a miscut at the Valspar, and then it's got better since. Now, the miscut at the Valspar was also, it wasn't the best or the worst finish of his year. He had one top 20 leading up to this Cadillac, and it came at the Sony Open in his very first tournament of the year. He finished 18th. Then he finally found a third-place finish at the Cadillac Championship. He basically missed the cut at the Truist, 63rd over there. 14th at the PGA Championship, and then 3rd at the Charles Schwab. So now we've had a 3rd, a 14th, and a 3rd in the last 3 starts. If you think about Ben Griffin from a baseline perspective, maybe this helps us a bit better. Maybe what does his last 24 months look like? 1.2. So he really thrived when it was 1.57 here in the 12-month bucket. You know, that's easily his thing. But if you take a look at his last month, he's 1.8 strokes gained. You know, so he's above his last 12-month baseline, finding his groove. Same goes for JJ Spahn, Bobby Mack kind of going the other direction. So you can use this tool over here to figure out, like, okay, what am I looking for? Am I looking for a guy that I like what he's been up to the last 2 months? This looks good. Well, Matt Fitzpatrick's kind of struggled in the last 1 month, but he's also been fantastic over the last 4. That's okay. You know, he's got a decent baseline over the last 12. You know, that's fine. Somebody like Wyndham Clark, we know can perform, but that was like 2 years ago. If you take a look at his last 24 months, he's only gaining 0.7 strokes. So you can kind of use this tool however you need to. Then another cool way to go about finding people's information on this beautiful Model Maniac Patreon of mine. I know this is a really big screen, but I just want to show you everything that's available. You can type in Ben Griffin, you just click enter, and then all the stuff populates for you. On the Fantasy Golf Degenerate show, this did not populate, and as a result, I had to go fix it. Now it's fixed. It just wasn't pulling deep enough down the rows. So if we take a look, just from a ranking perspective, I like to take a look at this. We've seen Ben Griffin. We know he's a good long iron player long term, but he's actually been really struggling in that department. Like, there's 72 people playing this week. He's only 64th in the field. So that's not ideal. There's no real area that he's actually solid from, apart from out of the rough from 25, from 150 and beyond. He's 25th in the field. So top third. That's what you're going to be getting from Ben Griffin long term. But you say this now, Nev. My computer is freaking out again. It's lagging. The Wi-Fi is not a problem, but my computer is, and I can see my screen like, you know, like it's causing some issues for me. This computer is less than a year old, and it's given me more headaches than a redheaded stepchild. I'm telling you, I bought a gaming computer, and I will never do that ever again. I thought it would be the best performing one. No. Anyway, when conditions get into hellish situations, Ben Griffin is gaining the 10th most total strokes in the field. Typically, you need to be a good driver of the golf ball, good long iron player, and your short game. Like, the harder conditions are, just the better you need to be playing in general. So that's what Ben Griffin does well. He does check that box for us, gaining the 10th most total strokes. He's also gaining the 8th most total strokes on bent grass. Ben Griffin on bent grass is where you want to find Benjamin Griffin. So that's what's cooking. Benny G doing his thing and starting to find some form. 32-1 without Scotty Scheffler. Get that top 5 there, 6-1. I'm in with that to go. Let's get it. All right. Moving along to our next situation over here for this week's Memorial Tournament. We have a guy by the name of Sepp Straka. And he's 50-1 in the Model Maniac Discord. We dropped that in there yesterday. He's going to be on everybody's single betting card because this is absurd value. If you take a look at what Sepp Straka gets up to at this golf course, remember old Scott Stallings? Anyway, Sepp Straka, the last 3 years, we have seen a 3rd, a 5th, and a 16th place finish from him at Memorial course history. If you take a look at his recent form, it's been kind of rough. If you take a look at his last couple months of strokes gained, it's also been kind of rough. Probably can make everything bold. Should we just make this everything bold and beautiful? Get completely distracted. There we go. All right. So Sepp Straka doesn't necessarily have a month or period of time that he was thriving in. He's very hit or miss. He comes and goes. He spikes. He pops. He peels out. He shows up. He burns out. He drinks Diet Coke. He does whatever he wants to do. So that's where we're going with Sepp Straka. He's very, very impressive when it comes to iron play. He's the second best iron player in the field based off of where he's going to be hitting his golf ball from. And if we take a look at just overall strokes gained off the tee plus approach play for this very specific golf course, he's 15th in the field. He's not playing like he's the 15th best ball striker in the field. Let's be honest with you there. The bent grass putting for him is not necessarily the greatest in the world. You'd like him on Bermuda, but we have seen massive success from Straka at this golf course with 3 top 15s in the last 3, and 2 of them most recently being top 5. So you're getting a lot of good value from Sepp in the long iron department. Remember, 7 approaches from 200 plus are going to be on the card for most of these guys. And Sepp isn't the longest driver of the field. So he's going to be middle of the pack. He's going to be hitting these mid irons as well quite a lot. His biggest weakness, if you're just looking at the color codes here, is the 100 to 150 range. So you can see the longer the golf course gets, the better. And the beautiful thing about the Sepp Straka match up, when I speak about matchup, I'm talking about this golf course, is usually when there's a long iron intensive venue, you are usually finding the average driving distance around about 310 yards, which means the fairways are narrow, the rough is thick. It's hard to hit these fairways. The longer hitters have a better opportunity at succeeding at these courses. Sepp's not necessarily the greatest out of the rough. He doesn't have the ball speed to do it. Like he just doesn't have it. He's a precisionist. He's an Austrian surgeon. And as a result, from the fairway, he just dials it in. Second in the field from 200 plus, 17th in proximity, 6th in green regulations from 200 and beyond. Proximity-wise, from 150 to 200, he's 5th in the field. So you are dialing it in on approach as your name is Sepp Straka. You're avoiding poor shots from 200 plus as well. A poor shot is when you lose over half a stroke on the field in one single shot, one approach. And he does that remarkably well, avoids disaster quite nicely. So all of this said is we get some solid driving accuracy from Sepp as well. It's kind of low, to be honest with you, which is likely got to do with the fact that he hasn't been playing that great. He's typically a very accurate driver of the golf ball. If you take a look at his long-term driving, I'm kind of curious to see how that's gone. Driver's been very mediocre the last little while. Since the players, it's kind of struggled. The accuracy's been quite low, but it looks like has he picked up some distance? I mean, he lost some distance. He kept, since coming onto the tour, Buddy was out here bombing it out, gaining 9 yards in the field back in 2019, and now is losing to the field fractionally. So used to be ultra accurate off the tee. Yeah, these are the last 2 years, 2025, 2024, gaining 7 and 8% accuracy on the field. This year, only 1%. So the accuracy thing is not quite there for Sepp, but any given week he can spike. And the reason I'm kind of throwing this backhanded bullshit at Sepp is the fact that we have him graded out quite nicely. He's finding himself 12th in the model. He's the first $7,000 option behind Alex Fitzpatrick to show up in the rankings. And what we notice in particular is I'm expecting some serious ownership to come in on this guy. At $7,700 with this course history, you are going to find some serious ownership. So we are just going to go to Sepp Straka in the 50 to 1 without market, without Scotty. And I think we grabbed whatever the top 5 was. I can't do a betting show here and tell you what's going on. Sepp Straka, top 5 ties paid in full plus 870 over at DraftKings. So 2 units on that to win about 1.7 in return, which is cool to go. I was contemplating betting Scotty Scheffler outright, but we just decided to do the other way around and bet him top 5. So that's what's going on over there. Ben also gets a PMT time, unfortunately, in round 1, which I was really looking forward to there. Okay, so that's Sepp Straka. Let's get him out of the equation. I have one more outright bet for us that is actually a ladder bet that I didn't quite get to on the Fantasy Golf Degenerate show because it's month end for me. So I'm over here busy looking at my own personal computer, making sure that the supervisor's not on my ass about stuff as we are closing books. But that's all the more reason to hit the like, hit the subscribe, sign up to the Model Maniac Patreon. Please, I would love to get out of accounting because it sucks, So I can give you my utmost best if you provide me with your love and support. All right, so the next guy is going to be Alex Fitzpatrick, and it's a ladder situation. So Alex Fitzpatrick finding us a ladder here. If we scroll down, I just dropped this in the Discordios. You can't really quite see it behind the thingy-mabobby. Okay, doesn't matter. So if you click his name, you can see I wrote these kind of things about him. He's hit 38 long irons this year. But if you take a look at those 38 long irons, and by the way, if you are in the Discord and you click on this thing and it doesn't look as crispy clear as you'd like, you can hit this button up here that says open in browser. And then you just pull this browser up. Boom, there it is. And you can zoom in, zoom out. You can scroll. You can do whatever you want. So we're going to go over here to the ranking side of things, make it look real tidy for you guys. We were just doing that, but I'm going to show you many ways you can use this tool over here. So the ball striking, when we take a look at strokes gained off the tee plus approach, Alex Fitzpatrick is very accurate. 7th in the field in driving accuracy. That's on the, I mean, he won the Euro Indian, which was one of the most diabolical golf courses we've ever seen, well over par in scoring. And guess what? Alex Fitzpatrick is 17th in strokes gained hellish conditions. That's when scoring averages are over par. So Alex Fitzpatrick, accurate, good in hellish conditions. And if you take a look at this ball striking situation over here, look at this column on the left-hand side. These are the long irons, 200 plus. Everything over here, fairways, strokes gained, fairways proximity, fairway green regulation rates, fairway good shots, fairway poor shots. He's a poor shot avoider. He's very good with that. And you typically see a correlation between good shots and poor shots. Guys that are chasing good shots hit poor shots because the margins are slim. If you are chasing a flag that's in a diabolical situation and you're hitting it there, being aggressive, you can hit a bad shot while trying to hit a good shot. You're not usually going to hit a good shot if you're trying to avoid hitting a bad shot, by hitting the middle of the green. So if you're avoiding poor shots, I don't mind that at this kind of a golf course because pars are your friend at this venue. Make your birdies on the par fives and get the hell out of there. So he's very good from the wedge range and very good from the 200 plus range. Now, there's only 28 wedges, only 38 approaches from 200 plus. It's not the biggest sample size, but if you take a look at his results, they've been really, really impressive, people. I've got so many tabs open, I don't even know where my model is right now. So I'm just going to get that out of the way. Look at what's going on here. Goodness gracious, Byron. All right, so Alex Fitzpatrick doesn't check any boxes, but he grades out phenomenally. Very, very nicely. Taking a look at his recent form over here. Truist Championship, what is that? Long golf course. Got to kind of keep your ball in play, but you can mash it anywhere, really. Long irons. Difficult. He finished 4th. Cadillac Championship. Cameron Young's place. Finished 9th. Long golf course. Long irons. Hard conditions. Cam Young made that golf course look completely different. So, love what's going on in this department. If we take a look at Alex Fitzpatrick's putting, he's also a bent gent. We've got bent gentlemen over here. And Alex Fitzpatrick, although he's not the greatest on bent grass, he's better on it. Let's take a look. He's fractionally better than anything else he's doing, which is fine. Not the greatest putter in the world. Guess what? Scotty Scheffler finished 3rd, losing 8 strokes putt. Now, is Alex Fitzpatrick going to hit his irons and driver like Scotty? Probably not, but he's capable of getting relatively close from professional standards. We just saw the ball striking pedigree that he's presented us with in the first couple starts on the PGA Tour. But he has leveled up. Now, the big problem with this is he could wake up out of nowhere and realize, oh my God, I'm on the PGA Tour. I'm playing in another signature event. We'll see. But until then, I'm going to trust the guy's data. This is the perfect course fit for him. The bets we're going to be placing on Alex Fitzpatrick are the bets. He's 150 to 1 for an outright. You can find that on DraftKings. I went to the spot that you can get 6 places with. Betting 0.1 unit on the outright and 0.1 unit on the each way. Then you can find a top 10 at plus 710. Ties paid in full on DraftKings. I'm going to be betting 0.3 units there. Then you can find a top 20 plus 275. Ties paid in full at this place. If you're watching, go half a unit to win 1 and a bit. So if he finishes top 20, we are cashing a full unit based off of, what are we investing 1 unit here? Half a unit, it's just about, we're going to use that full unit. We're going to get like 0.8 back or 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, whatever. I'm splitting hairs. I'm splitting units here, but we're almost going to have a full unit return. If he finishes top 10, We get that full 1 and a bit units, and we get 2 units for the top 10 market. Then if you take 150, divide that by 5, that is 30 to 1 for a top 5. Got 1 unit on that. So that's another 3 units. So if he finishes top 5, we are cashing 6 units on Alex Fitzpatrick this week. And if he wins this damn thing, that's the 6 units. Then we bet 15. We got 0.1 on them to win 15 units. So 21 unit win for Alex Fitzpatrick, which is not out of the cards. I mean, the guy was in the mix at the Truist, in the mix at the Cadillac, won the Zurich with his brother. So we'll see. Maybe out of Florida, we get back to some Texas, Ohio, sorry. I'm getting confused with Texas because we've had a lot of bent grass in Texas the last little while. Alex Fitzpatrick, friends, to win, to top 5 with the each ways, to top 10 at plus 710 on DraftKings, to top 20 at plus 275 over at Baham. That place there. The king of whatever. Anyway, so that's Alex Fitzpatrick for you. This is Alex Smalley, which we'll always get confused about. I was very tempted to do Alex Smalley. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick second, yeah. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's crack a coconut lime cooler. Little 0 calorie, 0 sugar salsa water. There we go. We're back in business now. We're back in business. Got to slow down. Show off the beautiful, beautiful shirt. You know how long it took me to find this shirt? I almost thought I was going to do the FGD show without it yesterday because it was way in the back of the closet. So now the mission is to keep it in the laundry rotation. You know, I'm wearing this thing as much as I can now, but that is that. I actually want to do a giveaway for you guys as well. I'm going to find a question for you though. Over the last 12 months, when it comes to betting to win $100, who has been the best top 20 bet in this field? Who in the last 12 months has returned you the most money betting to win $100 every single time you bet them top 20? First correct answer gets a free month in the Model Maniac Patreon. I'm trying to find the answer for you now. It may be very obvious. It may also not be. We will see. There we go. Okay. So fire those off. I'm looking right now. The best, it's not Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler is 5th in these rankings. So there are 5 guys ahead of Scotty Scheffler. So he's 6th. Woo, in this field, we've already spoken. I'll give you a top 3 answer. First person to let me know who has finished inside the top 20 enough at the best odds over the last 12 months to return the most money in the top 20 market. It's someone I've typically bet top 20s quite a lot. The other one did quite nicely last week. And the other one did really badly. And the other one's won a lot of tournaments this year. So, but it looks like the chat is asleep. So it may not even be. I might have caught you off guard. I'll give you 10 more seconds for one more answer to come through. Otherwise, we are moving on with the programming here. I did a bicycle ride today. Ooh, Nev, you came in right on time. And you know what? I said I was going to give it to a top 3 answer, but you said Cam Young. Cam Young has returned you $450 in the top 20 market over the last 12 months, betting to win 100. He's been sensational in that department, but he's actually been better in the top 10 market. Returned you 672. So Nev, I don't know if you are in the Discord or not. Hit me up on X in the DMs or come into the Discord, the Model Maniac Discord. Come on in there, message me on there. I'm the Model Maniac on Discord. However you need to get in, I'll get you in. Just make contact with me because I can't drop the link, the gift that I'll give you for a free month in the chat because it'll get gobbled up by somebody. So just contact me. I'll get you in there. I appreciate you. All right. So that's what's cooking this week. Let's scoot over to the actual part of the model here again. I added some comp courses, by the way, to this week's tool. Arnold Palmer Invitational, Farmers Insurance, which is Torrey Pines South, a little more based off the long iron play on approach than anything else, because it's not necessarily driver heavy venues, but they still a lot of long irons. The Valero kind of provides you with that mid to long iron approach side of things. The same goes for the Valspar. Got to drive the ball very well and keep it in play at those two golf courses over here. Both, I think, on Bermuda, with one of them being bent. So Valero, I think, is bent in Texas. So just for some information there, if you're looking for course strokes gain, if you want to try and find some spike guys in Showdown, here's your tool. Here's the best spike rounds at this golf course. Ben Griffin with 9 strokes gained on the field, around better than Scotty Scheffler's ever had at this golf course. So insane to see. Is Ludwig a Ponzi scheme, like Twitter says? Ooh, that's interesting to see. Okay, moving. Oh, I also added bogeys and birdies based off of the scoring conditions. Easy birdies, yeah, you're easy birdie boys. If you're looking for hard birdies, yeah, you're hard birdie guys. Rory actually makes more birdies in hellish conditions than Scotty does in the last 12 months. Scotty, though, his superpower is only making 2.7 bogeys or worse. And what I did with these or worse is, if it's a double bogey or worse, I times it by 2.25, because those are nasty scores in DFS. So Scotty Scheffler is like miles, like half a birdie less than Matt Fitzpatrick in hellish conditions, was the ultimate grinder. So there's some interesting information that I'm adding to the tools as we're going along, kind of adding stuff as we go, always improving, always doing good things. All righty, back to the model. Let's do some I've got a couple ideas for I've made a couple top 20 bets as well today amidst everything. So the show's a little unorganized. I apologize. Let's answer the Ludwig Ponzi scheme first. For me, I don't think... Now, the Ludwig Ponzi scheme is interesting because this is available to you guys, by the way, as well, as a member of the Model Maniac Patreon. We just do this. And Ludwig usually shows up right away. So in the last year, in 2026 alone, let me get this out of the way. Here are all the bets that have cashed for him. Top 10s, top 20s, top 5s. He's got 4 top 5s at 61, 41, 3.5 to 1, and 41. We've got a multitude of top 20s. Obviously, if you're top 20ing, you're top 10ing. And we've got a ton of top 20s. The thing with Ludwig is, in just this year, Ponzi, whatever. Just this year, Ludwig, he's going off at these odds. Now, this is filtered by longest to shortest. And even if you just take away Ludwig's, this is in his entire betting career. Look at this this win situation here. He's won twice on the PGA Tour, 3 times. Okay, this is including Euro. Let's just do PGA. Twice on the PGA Tour, and you're going to have to, if you have been betting Ludwig every single time he plays, he's so overpriced that the fact that he's won twice in the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, 2025, yeah, basically the last 3 years. The RSM, he came in at 12 to 1, cashed that in for you guys. 22 to 1 at the Genesis Invitational last year, cashed that. Those 2 wins, because of his price, it's horrible to be betting him long term. It's insane. This is filtered by win to loss. So the less you lose, obviously the longer your odds, right? He showed up to the Arnold Palmer Invitational in 2023 at 600 to 1. A couple months later, he wins the RSM Classic at 12 to 1. What a crazy situation that is. Okay, so what I'm trying to get at here, though, is you can count on one hand implied probability here. Let's go the other way around. 600 to 1 is less than 1%. Then we immediately get close to 1%. You had 130 to 1 at the Travelers a couple months later. Everything you're seeing in 2023 is the majority of his longest odds, the worst odds Ludwig has had. If you take a look at the RBC, the Genesis Invitational this year, he was 45 to 1 at Riviera this year, and he started finding his groove again. But this 45 to 1 doesn't exist. Pebble Beach, he was 40. He was starting to drift, right? Arnold Palmer Invitational, 38 to 1. Got over to the East Coast and started doing his thing again. But now, like, if you just take a look at like his odds in the last year, got it. There we go. 45 to 1 is his longest odds this year. 40 to 1, 38 to 1 this year. Then the next shortest is 28 to 1. I mean, that is a 3% chance. I know it's very slim. These are all with events that Scottie Scheffler's playing in. But this is like, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. And then as a result, his top 20 market is like cratered because he couldn't get it together early in 2026. So he is overpriced. Obviously, you know, in his career, he's overpriced. The only market he's been gaining money in is the top 10 market, which he's been rattling off like crazy this year. He's gained you over $300 in the top 10 market this year. And the top 5 market. That's his next best market long term. Barely gaining you any. He's losing you $130 to win, and he's losing you $350 to top 20. So you basically got to bet him to win 100 4 times in a row to cash 4 straight top 20s to get back into the positive based off Ludwig's top 20 track record. So to answer your question, is Ludwig a Ponzi scheme? Yes. He is. Because of the pricing. The Ponzis are asking you for too much up front. A good Ponzi scheme asks you, I guess they asked you for 600 to 1 in his very first tournament, and things got significantly more aggressive and malicious from there. So, yeah. I was hoping to get Ludwig around 25 to 1 here, but I don't know if that's happened or will happen. Like, exactly. It was, hello, Pilon. Good to see you. What is his current situation? Odds-wise. I haven't even looked because I bet him top 5 last week and got myself kicked in the balls. So that didn't work out for me. Ludwig, yeah. 4th highest on the odds board again. He's 15 to 1. You know? What? He's playing well enough to deserve that, but he's just not getting across the line for you. So that is kind of the situation we're in the mood for, yeah. Not in the mood for. We're in the mood to not deal with Ludwig's situation, despite being 3rd in the model. I don't mind him at $10,100. I don't mind him there at all. The comment I had here, he checks all 6 boxes except for hellish conditions. That's Xander. The only box that Ludwig doesn't check is hell scoring. But at this venue, he's got a 5th and a 16th. So we're good to go. Okay. So I don't mind him in DFS at this kind of price, because what is he? He's 4th in the same thing as Cam. It's like basically the same odds. But this is a bit more fair, in my opinion, at that price, because you can still capitalize off the top 5, right? Like, that's the situation there. Okay, so Ludwig's situation is there. Cam Young, 8th in the model, by the way. So tough scenes for Cam Young. Top 20 bets. I've made a couple. Scottie Scheffler, top 5. The Alex Fitzpatrick, top 20. And I think that's it, friend. I think we're keeping it kind of light this week. I don't know why. I haven't had much time to like really dig in. I need to like dive into every single bet as we go. I'm not going to just pull the trigger on random stuff. So that's the kind of situation we're in the mood for this week. Heavy on Scottie Scheffler. 2.5 units out there. Then we've got the ladder bet, a full unit on Alex Fitzpatrick. Then we've got Sepp and Ben Griffin coming through. Now we get to the part where you can hit me with who you want to deep dive, who you want to check out in the DFS landscape. We are filtered by the DraftKings pricing. Can I take a quick peek here to see if we maybe got some ownership? Maybe I can load that up for us in the meantime. There wasn't anything when I last checked, and we have. We've got some ownership. Okay, that can help with the discussion. So give me 2 seconds as I add this to the model quickly, and then we can chat about ownership and DFS going forward. Apologies for the delay. I could not have prepped this anyway. Jesus, Byron, find the goddamn tab here, you idiot. Okay, it's further along. I've got so many. It's a problem, but this is a badass tool, so I'm not going to be ashamed of having too many tabs. All right, there we go. Get all of these idiots out of here. And now we should have ownership. I believe we have tea times as well, so I can unhide this entire part of the model. Do we necessarily, I don't think there's that big of a weather edge. Let's take a quick peek. While we're doing this, from an hourly perspective, I mean, this is relatively ideal. This is like a normal day on a golf course, 13-mile-per-hour winds, gusting up to 27. That's kind of up there, but that's Tuesday. We don't give a crap about Tuesday. Yes, Thursday, it's going to be like, this is going to play potentially hard scoring conditions. I don't see this playing too crazy when it comes to Thursday. There's like no wind. There's like no wind at all. So early guys getting a good, like, I mean, look at this. This early window it's got first round leader written all over it. So we'll get to that at the end of the show. Same situation for some round 2 showdown. We're going to have these guys going off early, getting some better conditions. It's going to be 82 degrees. So that can be warm enough to kind of bake the course out. No precipitation until Saturday. And we don't really get hourly conditions until then. So Saturday and Sunday is going to be interesting with weather. We could see some lower scoring if a couple guys get off to some frisky starts. You know, these PM, AM guys, Thursday PM, Friday AM, could have a couple banger rounds coming through. So there is your weather, brought to you by Back 9 Bets here on KCCI in Iowa. Moving back to the model. Scotty Scheffler, 13.5. Me and Sweet Spot DFS speak about him all the time, in DFS in particular, because I feel like the betting market's actually the way to go in the top 5 landscape there. At minus 125, that is just a no-brainer, in my opinion, with ties paid in full. So give me my top 5. I don't play more than 2 units in DFS per week anyway. So if he top 5s, I'm making my money back in DFS. If he doesn't, we struggle. We lose 2.5 units. But potentially 40% of the field is out of the equation. So that's how I'm attacking Scotty Scheffler this week. It was written in the notes as such. Top 5 bet, likely leave him alone at price tag and now ownership. Again, the ownership I'm plugging in here early is a bit, it's like wishy-washy, but it makes sense that he's there. Rory at 21% is interesting to me given the course history. So I was kind of hoping to chat a bit more about Rory McIlroy here at this part of the show, because I think I'm all in on Rory in DFS. I don't see that ownership being that high. I want to lean into his course history, driving that ownership down. I want to lean into the fact that he's a good course fit. We've spoken about this already. He is going to be demolishing green regulations given his long iron prowess at this golf course. He hits greens like a mother bugger from 200 plus. He's so good. I wrote about Rory a little bit. Let's pull Rory up, yeah. He has roars. I wish this, how can I hide this? Can I hide this? I don't want this, yeah. Anyway, all right, well, here it is. So here's the memorial. We got a couple stars, in the recent form side of things. I guess he won that Masters. But since Rory, he hasn't played here in forever. The last time he played here, he didn't have a green jacket. Now he's got 2 green jackets. The last time he played here, he was losing strokes on approach with his wedges from 100 to 150. Now he's gaining with his wedges. If you take a look at his like track record, this is his track record at this golf course, dating back to 2014. But this is filtered by driving accuracy, okay? And the only freaking times, this is what I'm trying to figure out. is I would expect your around the green play to be worse the less accurate you drive the golf ball, because you are coming from the fairway, so you're likely making your miss in the perfect spot to get up and down from, ideally. But what this screams to me is over-aggression. Like, unless it's just pure coincidence that he chipped the worst he's chipped basically at this venue. The 4 times he played, the 4 times he drove the ball the best in the middle of the fairway all the time. You know, like he drove the ball really well these weeks. Couldn't translate with around the green play. And then, hilariously, it's his 2 worst approach weeks as well, mixed in there when he's driven the ball well. It's good to see that he did gain the last 2 times he's played, 2023 and 2024. He gained like 5% accuracy. So hitting above average fairways at this golf course is important for Rory. He's a very inaccurate driver of the golf ball. What causes this? I think maybe being over-aggressive, then you get yourself into a bad spot because you're in the fairway. I also think this is 2020 to 2012 Rory McIlroy. We've seen better chipping since, and also a guy that's got more patience on a golf course now. A guy that is capable of finding pride in just hitting the middle of the green with the wedge, despite wanting to go at the flag, because sometimes that's just where you've got to hit the golf ball here. Here's the situation I was taking a look at in his iron play over the last couple of years. This percentage is poor shot avoidance. So like how many bad shots. If you minus this from 100%, that tells you how many bad shots you're hitting, how many percent of the time. 96 means you're hitting 4% of the time. You're losing over half a stroke on the field on approach. And this is from each different proximity bucket. So with the wedges, he's hitting far more safer shots this little while. 2024, he was hitting 7% of the time. He was losing half a stroke on the field with the wedge in his hand. And he was losing strokes in general, in 2024. In 2024 as well, he was gaining 1/3 of a stroke. 300th of a stroke on the field on approach from 200. Every single time he played, he'd gain 1/3 of a stroke, which means every 3 shots, he's gaining 1.1 stroke on the field, which means every 30 shots, he was gaining a full stroke on the field. Fast forward to 2026, he's gaining 11.11. So a fraction, 1/10 of a stroke on the field from 200 plus, which means we are like running hot right now. This is the best in the field. It takes 10 shots for him to gain 1.1 strokes. It takes 9 shots for him to gain 1, whereas it took him basically 30 in 2024 to gain 1 stroke on approach from that distance, if you're doing the math out like that, right? Also, in 2025, he hit 78 approach shots from 200 plus, and not a single one of them lost him more than half a stroke on the field. Super safe, super accurate, super conservative from that far out. He lost half a stroke on the field multiple times with the wedge. 5% of the time, he's losing over half a stroke on one single approach shot in the last couple of years. So he's fantastic from these long distances. He's just playing fantastic golf. And what I want to point out when it comes to Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, in hellish and hard conditions, Scottie's gaining a total of 5.8 if you add these two together. I wish this was an average. In easy and medium, Rory's gaining 2.8. So that's almost 3 total strokes behind. If you add these two up, it's 4.3. And Rory's gaining 3.8. So it's only half a stroke in total. He's almost right up there in hard conditions. He's exactly the same as Scottie in hard conditions. And 0.4 strokes behind Scottie in hellish conditions, when his conditions are over par. So he plays very nicely in these difficult conditions. I'm expecting that to translate this week. We are looking at a course history that's been horrible by his standards. We are seeing a guy that has not. Oh my God! I just don't have my fastball today, people. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to unhide columns that aren't even unhidden. Is that thing? It's not even unhidden. It's minimum. What? What is this? Okay. So, yes, Rory's last 4 starts, you haven't been better than the 7th, haven't been worse than the 18th. That's what's going over there. I just got an email. I'm sorry. This is why. We're all over the place, but it is what it is. Let's take a quick sip. Take a quick sip, people. So what I think is I expect Rory to be half of Scotty's ownership. He's $2,000 cheaper than Scotty. He's not going to be in Scotty lineup. So he's a perfect pivot off of him because people that are playing Scotty won't be playing Rory. You just cannot do that price-wise. The course fit model is telling me to play Rory McIlroy despite missing all of these damn fairways. It means that when he's on approach from 200 plus, he's going to be just fixing it up. And you get 3 of those from the fairway on the par 3s. So it's guaranteed to come from the fairway. He's also exceptional out of the rough. He's very strong, very vertical swing. Like, I don't know, whatever. Guess he's very rotational. So Rory McIlroy is going to be my guy at the top of the board. Yeah, I'm going all in. Probably 33% of my lineups are going to have Rory in some capacity. So we'll see. I always get Rory wrong. So congratulations to you guys for fading him over there. Cameron Young is probably going to be a bit of a fade for me. If we take a look at Cameron Young's player profile, the iron play, he's been very good this year, obviously. Won, multiple times now. But he's putted his brains out. And his approach play from 200 plus is below par, to be honest with you. He's, the 3rd or 4th ranked golfer in the world. And your iron play from 200 plus out the fairway, the best is your proximity. And it's 32nd in a 70-man field. Problems. Mid-irons, your worst metric is almost your best metric from 200 plus, ranking-wise. Wedges, like he's not a good iron player. He's 36th in the field in approach play. This is a second shot golf course. You get your ball in the fairway. He's obviously very accurate given the fact he's a long driver of the golf ball. Very good driver of the golf ball. So it's going to help him on this golf course. But this is his approach play, people. Like, find the green boxes. Green boxes on this is strokes gained out the rough inside 150 with the wedge. He's 3rd in the field. So the problem is, that doesn't mean much at this golf course. It's 4-inch Kentucky bluegrass, people. If you know what 4 inches looks like, it's pretty lengthy in some situations. In others, not so much. But he's 2nd in the field in proximity inside. So his wedge play out of the rough, fantastic. From 150 and out of the rough, he's also slightly better. So he's in there. But again, you don't want to be in the rough this week. It's so variable out of the rough this week. It's so variable. Let me just see if this entry was approved. I'm sorry. This is just the world we live in. Otherwise, I'm going to be all over the place. Posted. Boom. Okay. So it's just a small issue then. Moving along. Mid-irons, top 20 in the field. Cool. Long irons, 7th of those per round. 49th in the field. No go. Moving along, Cam Young. Bent grass greens, he's 10th in the field. Bermuda is his best jam. POA, he struggles on. When it comes to Cam Young's, he leads the field in strokes gained in round 2, by the way, over the last 12 months. So throw him into round 2 showdowns if you're in the mood, especially after a lackluster round 1, maybe. So that's my Cam Young take. Driver's going to make his course easier for him, but the irons are going to make it a lot more difficult than it needs to be. He goes as his putter goes. If the putter fires up, obviously we're going to have a guy in contention. If he's not making a million putts, we're going to have a guy that's making himself look like an idiot on approach this week. So he's 8th in the model. He's 3rd in pricing. I can't quite justify that. You can't play everybody, so I'm gonna trust the model and see where that goes. So give me no Cam Young this week. I'll take some Ludwig. We've spoken about him already. Makes a lot of sense at this golf course too. Xander Schauffele, we are seeing this golf course is fascinating to me because let's just go over here and just do like the best. We can do course history by strokes gained. Scotty Scheffler gains 3.6 strokes. He's getting 3.6 strokes on average per round at this golf course in the last 5 years. That is double what Patrick Cantley gains. And he's got a win and a third and a 12th. Woo, by the way, I'm kind of out on Patrick Cantley. Look at this top 5 rate. I mean, how can you tell me someone $9,200, 19% owned is going to give me a 5% top 5 rate? Sorry, miss me with that. Okay. But just looking at, we've now filtered on strokes gained wise. Look at these best finishes at this golf course. We've got winners in Cantley and Scotty. Siwoo Kim has got a 4th. His next best finish is a 9th. Ludwig has got a 5th. Next best finish is a 16th. It's only been twice. Rory McIlroy is 5th in total strokes gained at this golf course and has got 1 7th place finish inside the top 10, a 15th, and 2 18th. Next up is Xander. He's got an 8th, an 11th, and then we're dealing with an 18th, a 25th, and a 24th. I think we went to signature events, in 2022 or 2023? It doesn't really matter because it looks like it's pretty poor here at this golf course anyway. What is Xander's problem at this golf course? He's probably not accurate enough off the tee to keep his ball in play. You know, he struggles when it comes to driving accuracy for Xander. So do most of these big dogs at the top who rip the driver. They're inaccurate for the most part. Siwoo Kim, Ludwig, Scotty, Nick Taylor, and Tommy Fleetwood all have good course history here and are all above average in accuracy off the tee. So that's what you're getting from those guys over there. Rory, very inaccurate. Xander, inaccurate. Jordan Spieth, inaccurate. Sungjae. Patrick Cantley, kind of inaccurate at this point, despite being below average in driving distance. So this is what you're getting from these guys. And this golf course is kind of like just letting guys do their thing and just finish top 10, top 15, hang out, have a good time, and just accumulate good strokes gained rankings at this venue, despite not necessarily having that many spike performances. If we filter by best finish, I'm sorry, I'm getting super distracted. We'll get to your guys' Q&As here shortly. We've got 3 past winners playing this week from the last 5 years. You can't have more than 4 because Scotty's won it twice. John Rahm won it the other time. He is in hell somewhere else. Not hell scoring. I guess they add Valderrama this week. So it's hell and hell scoring for John Rahm, who is a self-proclaimed business noob, has no idea about any sort of business propositions. They were asking him questions about that in the press conference, and his answer was, I'm not a businessman, I'm a golfer who makes $450 million in 5 years. Maybe. Depends if they pay him out. We'll see. Doesn't matter. Drive by on Johnny Rahm there. The course history has got all these spiky guys that doesn't necessarily have an average of over a stroke per round gained on the field. You know, it's just hit or miss stuff. So very interesting. I reduced the course history percentages by 10%. I had it at 20% to start off with. I've moved it down to 10. I was a little aggressive because Cam Young was getting dinged hard when it came to his situation. He wasn't even in the top. I think he was 10th in the model before I changed this to if I change this to 25%, does it change it? Yeah, 30%. He gets shoved down. You know, he's got some horrific course history here, does Cameron Young. So that's what you're dealing with Cam Young. Okay? It makes sense because he's not the greatest long iron player in the world either. All right. So questions you guys had were deep dive Gary Woodland, who I fancy, who the model fancies as well. Gary is over here. I also, Jake Knapp WD happened 4 hours ago. I've been on my bicycle. I've been doing 4.5 million journal entries here, blah, blah, blah. We'll get there this afternoon, I promise people. But Gary Woodland is $7,300, less than 10% projected ownership, gets an afternoon tee time. Don't mind that. Don't mind that from a kind of an edge long-term perspective. From a showdown, obviously you want the mornings. But even in the afternoon, it looks kind of fine this week on Thursday. 24th place finisher back in 2023. Gary Woodland wasn't playing very well back in that period of time. We've known what this guy's gone through. When did Gary, how bad has Gary actually been playing? Okay. I mean, he's been playing. I mean, he's been on the tour forever. In 2024 he lost strokes. That was obviously when the brain stuff was happening. Absurd. Yeah. So I mean, he's been playing good golf. That was the 2019 US Open win, and then the Houston. So playing some of his best golf in a long time, almost double what he's gained since COVID, essentially, in any of his best years since. So that's good to see. The ball striking, sensational. And then you can just see if you had to tell me, when did Gary Woodland, looking at this thing over here, at what point did Gary Woodland get in front of a camera, tell us all about post-traumatic stress disorder when it comes to brain surgery and having a tumor pushing on the fear center of his brain perpetually, having to climb into airplanes, to fly across the country, expecting cargo to fall out of the top of you, expecting the plane to just lose its wings and fall out of the sky. This is what he was going through daily, hourly, minutes, thinking he's going to die. Tells us at the Players' Championship, boys and girls, I have got some serious shit on my plate. This is the situation. I need to tell you this so that it can help me and so that it can help somebody else. And it turns out it definitely helped Gary. And with the way that this has gone, I'm assuming it's helping somebody else, because he's been on a lot of TV, and I'm sure people are reaching out as usually vets have this PTSD with hypervigilancy, is I think what he calls it. So incredible. Comes out at the Players. 2 starts later, wins the Texas Children's Open. 4.6 strokes gained on the field. Almost 20 strokes total gained. Waxed the field. Lapped the field. And then just has dominated since. PGA Championship was a bit of a wedge fest. Inaccurate drivers are not going to gain on approach much, because it was a very difficult approach week if you're not hitting it in the fairway. All of a sudden, Gary Woodland is just jiving out, boys and girls. 14th at the Valspar. Win. T8, T17, T6 are his last couple starts, with basically all of them being pretty good finishes outside of the missed cut at the PGA Championship. So I'm all in on Gary. Not all in. I'm impressed with what he's showing me. Only checks one box, but you have to be a top 10 in this field to check a box. And what would that box be for Gary Woodland? It's not going to be hellish conditions. It's going to be the course fit. Gary Woodland, great course fit. Horrible around the greens, but given his driving distance and sort of accurateness, whatever, he gains strokes off the tee. That's all I'm trying to say, yeah? And just hits green regulations and strokes gained approach like crazy. Take a look at his bucket system when it comes to approach play. Gary Woodland he's exceptional from 200 plus. Remember, Rory McIlroy, who leads this field in approach play from 200 plus, is gaining 0.11 on every single approach shot on average from 200 and beyond out of the fairway. Gary Woodland is gaining 0.9. And he's slightly better than Rory McIlroy from 150 to 200. Now, Rory's better than him from a wedge range. But again, a lot of shots are coming, about 12 shots coming from 150 and beyond. If we take a look at the rough, inside 150, he's very solid with wedges. So he's kind of got the bases covered in that department. If you're looking at this is why his course fit's so good, is he's been grass putting. On all surfaces, he's averaging 0.3 on the field putting-wise. On Bermuda surfaces, he's averaging 0.1. On Poa surfaces, he's averaging 0.3. And on bent grass greens in the last 18 months, since 2025 season began, Gary Woodland is averaging half a stroke on the greens, on bent grass greens, which makes that the 15th best putting performance on bent grass in this field. And what I'm seeing here is Gary gets off to exceptionally hot starts, gaining 1.4 strokes in round 1, which is the 11th best ranking out of that metric over here. So if you want rankings to compare to the field, here it is for you on the right-hand side of this player summary. If you want to know what the ranking means and how it equates to the actual numbers, yeah, this is, so you can see, okay, what is the 24th best green regulation rate from 200 plus? It's only 50% of the time. you know? So cool, kind of cool. I love Gary. Model ranking is 14th in the model and 35th in DraftKings pricing. So, you know, there's some value to be had for sure there. And sub 10%, I'm in on Gary Woodland, friends. Let's go. Quantitative eating, 2085. Thank you. I know. I appreciate. I stressed out a smidgen there. It is what it is. We figured our stuff out over there. It's Scotty week. In some capacity, yes, it is. One and done's, top 5 bet, not DFS, not to win. But if he wins, he wins. You know, then we cash in the one and done. I'm sitting 390th. I'm in the cash. So I can afford to go. I've saved Scotty for this week. We'll see how it goes. Thank you. Would you mind doing Siwu as well? Sure, I'll get there. But I have to go to the other guys that asked first. Questions. Deep dive Woodland. Thoughts on Kurt Kitayama, says Rob G. Hello, Rob. Kurt Kitayama. So like these, look at, like this is what I love this tool for, is to deep dive these things. Interesting that he's 0 on bent. We'll figure that out. You know, still, this is fresh. It's a new tool. There's some glitches here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be giving you what you need. This likely just doesn't go deep down enough. What is this? It's a VLOOKUP from the bent grass. Whatever. I'll figure that out later. Maybe he's just, this is just he's just average. He's just gaining 0, right? Is that what he's just gaining? Anyway, not getting sidetracked by your Kurt Kitayama question. Let's move on here. So recent performances from Kurt Kitayama: 19th at the Truist, 10th at the PGA Championship. I need to move these 2 buckets this side as well, because that just makes more sense. Course history is abysmal. He's missed the cut in the last 3 times he's played. That's not good. He's playing better. He's coming into this week playing better golf. You can see his stuff surging over here. Things are looking good on the long-term form side of things, gaining strokes. I mean, what the PGA champ and the Truist top 20 is gaining him 1.9 strokes on the field on average. So that's good. What's not good is the course history. What's not good is the fact that the scoring conditions is one of his worst when it's hellish conditions, aka over par play. He struggles severely in that situation. So that's another ding. So the course history checks out because the hellish conditions check out. Why does he struggle in hellish conditions? He's relatively accurate given his distance that he has off the tee. Yeah, top 10 in distance and 31st in accuracy, which makes him an 8th total driver. Most hard golf courses are typically going to have a lot of long irons from 200 plus, and Kurt Kitayama hits a lot of good shots relative to his shitty approach play from 200 plus anyway, but not enough. 21st is still not necessarily the greatest. You know, we got 70 people in this field. You want top 10, top 20 numbers, or a lot of top 20s or quite a few top 10s, which he does from 150 to 200, which is not going to be a very popular range this week. You know, there's a lot of long irons, a couple wedges, like we spoke about. Remember, just to recap on that, this is your situation you can see. And to completely just derail that, you can go over to the micro model and you can see, okay, here's Russell. Freaking hell. Okay. Russell. Why does this not want to stay in just the middle place for me here? You stupid thing. Okay. You can see Russell Henley's going to hit 3 wedges from 100 to 150 based off how far he drives, based off of this course's driving distance off the tee. He's going to have 8 approaches from 150 to 200 and 7 from 200 plus. So 15 shots from 150 and beyond for Russell Henley. Kurt Kitayama, how does that look for him? You can kind of see how he plays this course hole by hole, where he's losing strokes on the field. He grades out as a solid option on this golf course. And it's going to be because of all of these mid-irons. You know, whenever he's got a mid-iron to a wedge, he's taking care of business. How many times does he have that opportunity? If you go over to the right-hand side here. So in the 7 approaches from 200 plus, he's only going to gain you 0.1 strokes. In the 5 approach shots from 150 to 200, he's gaining you 0.3 strokes. In the 6 shots from 100 to 150, he's gaining you 0.2. So those are your holes that you're trying to find Kurt Kitayama on. He's going to be dominating on the par 4s because he's a much better mid-iron player and wedge player than he is a long iron player. What do you need the long irons for? The par 5s and the par 3s. The 3 par 3s are 210, 214, and 204 yards. So, that's going to hurt Kurt Kitayama's outlook at this venue. From a putting perspective, what does he do on these greens? He's worse than his baseline on bent grass greens. You typically want him on Bermuda. There's a couple putting performances that we don't even have surfaces for, apparently. So, yeah, he's kind of losing on that. But you definitely want to play Kurt Kitayama in round 2 showdown and round 4 showdown if he makes it that far. Not that thrilled about Kurt Kitayama. Price at $7,800. Models got him quite poorly ranked. A lot of course history issues there. I don't know if that helped you or not. Okay. All right. Siwoo Kim. Would you mind doing Siwoo? He's also on ladder consideration. Yeah, he should be. I think I was thinking about Siwoo Kim from a betting perspective in the top 10 market type of thing. Buddy is boom or bust with some solid course. Yeah, so that's kind of where I was getting at with Siwoo, is the fact that if you take a look at this course, the finish rates over here. By the way, I've also got the bet stuff populated back in here again. It's been a while since I've had that there. So you can see exactly. This also includes Rory when I don't think he top 20 at like a really small field in Europe. That's really making him look like it's a bad situation. But again, all of these guys at the top are like losing you money in the outright market for the last little while. And some of them in the top 5s too. So tough scenes there. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Siwoo Kim, boom or bust. Why is he boom or bust? Well, he's got one of the smallest differences between his top 5 rate and his top 40 rate. That's what this column does for you. Let's look at the smallest ones to the biggest ones. Brian, all of these are the 6K guys. Obviously, yes, Scotty Scheffler. He's the first guy that's not in the 7K range. He's got a 33% difference between his top 5 rate and his top 40 rate. That's insane. That is so good. It is so good. Wyndham Clark is ahead of Scotty Scheffler because he's only finishing top 5 8% of the time and top 40 40% of the time. Scotty Scheffler's finishing top 5 67% of the time. It just sounds so weird saying that outside of the bet that I placed on him for the top 5. It's just seeing it in isolation, it's fascinating. Other names, Aaron Rai, whatever. Let's get to some names that have some red on them, yeah. Alex Smalley, starting to top 5 a lot closer to his top 40 rate, but he's been playing great. He's been playing some really good golf. Matt Kuchar just got added recently, so I'll get him in there when I put Knapp and Sudarshan back in instead of Knapp. Smalley, top 20, has been paying off heftily. I was contemplating betting him top 20. Don't like the course history here. It is what it is. There's a lot to like about him. Great 12, micro model ranking. He's playing fantastic golf right now. There's no denying it. But he's barely plus money for a top 20 this week. And the course history is a bother to me. Will I be shocked to see him play good golf? No, because he's playing fantastic right now. And any golf course is on the table. But maybe I'm overreacting to the course history because Smalley... We're doing a Siwoo Kim deep dive, and here we are on like Gary Wood. Why do I keep saying Gary Player for Gary Wood? Siwoo Kim, people. Stay on track. Course history. Fantastic. I'm going to be betting him. What was I trying to... I'm going to have to pull up this because there was another... Currently, Siwoo for top 20 is like minus 140 or something. 156. It's deep. It's a lot. Without ties, it's probably that's probably the 140 I saw, right? $136. Yeah. minus 136. I'd probably still do the ties paid. And what I want to get into quickly, one more tangent here, my friend, I'm sorry, is the Scotty Scheffler bet is at minus 125. I'm telling some of you to bet him on DraftKings at minus 150. Ties paid in full. People have this weird stigma about negative odds in the placement market for golf betting. Scotty Scheffler is finishing inside the top 5 67% of the time. He's finished inside the top 5 100% of the time the last 4 times. Since he started playing this golf course, since 2020, when he came onto the tour, I think he missed the top 5 those 2 times. So call it a 67% hit rate at this golf course. When you get to NFL and people see the spread, a spread being minus 110, we'll bet that stuff all the time. But for some reason, golf bettors have this weird resistance to seeing a negative minus 125 and think, I don't want to bet that. I'm a golf bettor. I just bet plus money bets. If you take a look at the percentages and the probabilities, if you're going to like Scotty Scheffler is ripping you money right now across the board, nonstop in all the various markets except for the win market. Everybody, this is his entire career. We can go backwards. Let's go backwards. Again, this is stemming off a Siwoo Kim ladder consideration, but we're getting there. I promise. We're going somewhere, but slowly. Most of his bets are minus. I guess it's because the top 20 is negative odds. So let's just put Scotty Scheffler in here let's just do top 5 because that's what we're betting him this week. Okay. He, in his career, has returned us $2,100 betting to win $100 every single time you've bet Scotty Scheffler to finish top 5. In 2026, that bet is still gaining you $146. All the other 3 bets are losing you money. He's had some really weird tournaments lately. Like he's had a couple non-top 20s, which doesn't happen often for Scotty Scheffler. Non-top 20 at the Players and at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. 2 golf courses he's won at back-to-back, I believe, in the past. So interesting to see there. Back to the top 5s. So Scotty Scheffler, just in 2026, has won you $150. His odds have been plus 110 as his lowest. And at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson last week, he was minus 286. Now, are we going to be laying $286 to win 100? That's a little excessive. But the overall premise here is that once we get into this range right over here, and this is just one book that I'm using, and I don't think it's the most competitive one, but it's the one that's offered ties paid in full to dead heats forever. So as a result, I have any bet that finished 19th is a full cash at this book, which is why I use that book. DraftKings typically has better odds than these people, but you know what I'm saying. So you can shop around and find yourself, if you go from like a minus 167, which is probably out there for some Scotty Scheffler top 5s, that's a 63% implied probability. If you go and find yourself a nice little minus 133, that tells you it's only 57% of the time it's happening. We know how often Scotty's doing this stuff. So if you're just using the percentages, if we go back to 2025 now, the win mark, see, people betting Scotty Scheffler think they're smart. Unless you're not betting Scotty Scheffler every single week and just betting him at certain spots, you might be making money if he wins there. But Scotty Scheffler, okay, you've made yourself $200 in the last 3 years betting Scotty Scheffler, and that includes 2024, which was when you were still getting Scotty Scheffler to win tournaments at 9-1, 650, 600, plus 550, plus, so that's the thing. He's currently plus 300 to win. So it's been recalibrated. But the top 10 market, the top 5 markets have perpetually been profitable for people betting Scotty Scheffler in these situations. I mean, the skyscrapers just keep getting bigger and bigger as you keep clicking more and more years to his tally. Insane shit. So what I'm trying to say is if you are betting this stuff long-term, Siwoo Kim, let's take a look at his stuff. If you want to ladder this guy, over his career, he's lost you money across the board. This year, he's gained you cash in the top 20, top 5, and the top 10 markets. Obviously, he has not won in forever. Top 20-wise, Siwoo Kim coming into this week has been playing the odds. His best odds that you found was the PGA Championship at 2-1. We've had him all the way down to basically minus 175 at last week's CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, which he cashed. So if you just take a look at him cashing these bad boys, he's been cashing throughout the bag. You know, any odds, anything he's doing, he's taking care of business. He's returned you $300 this year. Top 5-wise, you're also getting, you know, some seriously good odds at certain spots, but he's returning you money in these markets. So top 20-wise, a lot of his odds have been, more than half of them have been negative odds at this book. So people that don't want to lay negative juice have only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chances in Siwoo Kim's season to place a bet on a plus money wager, which if you're putting $50 down to win 50, just lay the $60 damn dollars to win 50 back, people. That's a minus 120 bet. It's most of these bets. Minus 125 is like 7. It's like, you know, 62.50 to get your cash, to get your 50 back. So, you know what I'm saying? Now, yes, when you lay that 125 to win your 100 back and it loses, it sucks because the next time you're trying to win 100, you've got to win twice. But that's the purpose of betting this stuff over a period of time, is you expecting to cash Siwoo Kim more often than not. And, you know, seems like when he was plus money, he was cashing half the time as well. And when he was negative odds, he was cashing more than half the time. It kind of checks out, right? So even eating those negative odds helps you get to the promised land in that department. All right. So, yeah, I think Siwoo Kim, course history, top 20. He's got 4 top 20 in his last 5 starts. And we have got a multitude of top 10s coming into this week. 4 top 10s in his last 7 starts. So that's good to see. But again, just in the last 12 months, he's not been that profitable apart from top 5s. But again, we just saw 2026. He's playing a totally different brand of golf. So that's Siwoo Kim. What I was going to be playing him in one capacity or another. So what are we going to be doing here? It was going to be the top 20 because his top 30 number is exactly the same as his top 20 number. He's boom or bust. We've seen this 52% of the time he's top 20ing. That's the last 12 months. We just saw last 12, 2026-wise, he's been playing much better. And the golf course has finished top 20 here 4 of the last 5 times. So at minus 125 for Siwoo, minus 128 for a top 20. Shop around. You never know what you find out there. We're gonna be going there, Pilon. I'm betting Siwoo Kim top 20 for sure at this golf course. All right. Is Scotty top 5 safest bet on the board? Thoughts on Patrick Cantlay this week? Feels like he will be played by many. Scotty top 5 is what we bet. 2.5 units on state UW8PU, whatever that means. Yeah. Beginning of the show, go check out Scotty Scheffler's segment. We are all in on Scotty Scheffler top 5 this week. Is it the safest bet on the board? It's minus 125. Siwoo Kim is minus 128. Without ties, painful though. Minus 150. But you get what I'm saying. So anyway, Patrick Cantlay this week. I was very close to firing off a Patrick Cantlay top 20 until the negative odds turned me off. Plus 100 without dead heat, with dead heats included. Minus 120 something if you want to play it safe with the ties paid in full. Taking a look at Patrick Cantlay, he grades out as 10th in the model. And That's largely got to do with a lot of course history. If we remove this course history out of the equation, he moves to 12th. So it's a 2-spot jump for him. And the problem is that the first in 2021 and the third in 2022 is carrying a lot of course history for him. Yes, he finished 12th here in 2025. Congratulations. I was thinking about betting him top 20, but then I deep dived some stuff on Patrick Cantley. What was my issue with Patrick Cantley? Because I was very close to pulling the trigger and then I didn't. The fact that he hasn't cashed the top 20, he's only cashed it in 2 of the last 3 years. He has not cashed the top 20 at this golf course. Not good. If you take a look at recent form, PGA Championship did not cash the top 20. Truest, he did. If we take a look, was it bent grass? He putts better on bent grass. Okay, good. There was something about Patrick Cantley that bothered me, and it might, maybe it's hellish scoring conditions. Driving accuracy. It's like there's nothing, no of the boxes he's checking that I want here. Been playing better. You know, the thing is, my gut wasn't behind him this week. That's what I'm trying to get at here, is if I'm having to go this hard at the paint to try and figure out why I did not bet somebody, is probably because I didn't want to bet them in the first place. So sometimes the first time you want to bet someone, you don't have to bet them. Best bets you make sometimes are the ones you don't place. So, you know, that's it there. But for the most part, I'm out on Patrick Cantley at $9,200. You know, if you're going to be that kind of price, I need some sort of belief that you can give me a top 5 at some point. When was Patrick Cantley's last top 5? Wasn't this year. T2 at the Tour Championship, 30 people, lost to Tommy Fleetwood. And T4 at the Truest last year. Yeah. Had one of his best, gained 2.2 strokes per round on ball striking. That was easily his best ball striking performance of the last little while. So, yeah. That's I'm just out on Patrick Cantley in general. Okay. Computer's starting to slow down. Sam Burns, it was interesting as well for me. Couldn't quite get there. The model likes him. I don't mind the ownership. I might go to him at $8,800 because the course history is really good. The course fit is pretty poor, I think. Yeah. The approach play is not a good mid to long iron player. He's a much better wedge player. But again, the beauty of Sam Burns is the fact that this guy is going to going bananas on bent grass greens. He's so good on bent greens. Sam Burns. Don't mind the ownership. Gary Woodland, we've spoken about. We kind of like him a lot. So we can make him green. Let's rapid fire off some color combinations here if I can get my computer to do what I need it to do. We're going to go with Sam in some lineups, but not all of them. Nikolai's interesting. Can't do anything. Can't hit fairways. Can't putt on bent, but he's going to just ball strike this place to death potentially. $7,700. You know, worth a sprinkle in some lineups. Alex Smalley, ownership 15%. You see, I can probably go to him as a third or fourth click in a lineup. The top 20 bet just seems I bet scared sometimes. So I don't mind Smalley. Look at this. I'm clicking and it's not working. So I think it might be time for me to hang up the gloves. Yeah. Oh, I was going to bet Ricky Fowler top 20, I think, as well this week. Jeez, I'm all over the place. If you can almost see where I've bet Ricky Fowler as well. We bet Ricky Fowler at the Houston and at last week's Charles Schwab. There, and he missed the cut both times. What did he do everywhere else? Got 3 top 10s in the middle of this stuff. What on earth? I think we had a top 20 on him at the Truest. Yay. So, okay. Any other questions? I think I'm going to be out of here. Kind of running out of steam. Got to get back to work. All of that stuff. Also might have to go pick up a child at some point, yeah. All right, friends. family fans, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Nev, reach out to me so we can get you in the Model Maniac Discord and Patreon. Use code BETS26, BETS 26 for 50% off your first month or your first year at the Model Maniac Discord Patreon. The Dog Dominator is included in there, friends. $50 package. You can get half off your year. You'll get the Dog Dominator when I pump that out at the end of the year when there's no golf and we're drafting best ball teams on Underdog, which is fun. So go check that out. Jump in as an annual sub. If you're not happy, I'll refund your ass. You know, I've had one old granny ask me for a refund because she didn't know how to use the Discord. That is it. And it took me 3 months to get her stuff canceled. It made me realize that the only way you can cancel somebody on Patreon is to block them, I think. So I had to block a granny a couple weeks ago. Tough scenes. But other than that, we have had 0 complaints, and we would love to have you in there. Kind of just telling you that for no reason. Let's have a good week. Use code FGD at DraftKings when you're signing up as a first-time depositor. Check out everything in the description. Check out Fantasy Golf Degenerates. Check out the grannies. All right. Friends, we love you all. Have a great week. I'm in much better mood now that the sun's out and about. As you can see, the skin is shiny, and we got the eyes because of the glasses and all that stuff. So I'm getting vitamin D. That's all that matters, though. So rocking this bad boy. Sepp Straka, Alex Fitzpatrick, Ben Griffin to win this thing or finish second to Scotty Scheffler. There's likely some live ads, and then Scotty Scheffler top 5 and a couple other placements that I think we were looking at. Placements are a bit of a disaster right now. I should have mentioned that a bit better. But have a great week, friends. We'll catch you all soon. Peace until next time. Bye-bye.